from the top of the key. Rebound wrapped up by Luke Sigma, his 6th board of the night. So 3.5 minutes to play here at the Ulca Sports and Event Hall. Alba Berlin found their groove terrifically since quarter number 2 offensively. Hermansen dancing down the lane again, gets to the dots. Strong defensive sequence by Fenerbahce to result in Alba Berlin coming away empty-handed. Geoffrey Laverne was wide open. Costas Lucas captured himself on the offensive glass. Geoffrey Laverne snaps the offensive rebound off the glass and draws the foul against Martin Hermansen, who is called for the reach. Well, that's terrific work from Geoffrey Laverne. Costas Lucas driving the lane, keeping it himself, and there's the reach from Martin Hermansen, who sees him called for his 4th foul. So both he and Peyton Siva with 4 fouls apiece. Niels Gaffay checking back into the game. Luke Sigma and Hermansen taking a seat on the bench. So Geoffrey Laverne to the free throw line. He's 2 of 2 tonight from the free throw line and his 14-point total. Joint high scorer for his team along with Melih Mehmetoglu. Fenerbahce as a team, the 2nd poorest free throw shooting team in the competition. Just 71% from the stripe as a team. Geoffrey Laverne goes 1 of 2 on that trip to the free throw line. So it's a 1-possession game. Fenerbahce trailing by 3. Gaffay in the low post against Gigi Ditome. Too strong with the left hand off the glass. Rebound wrapped up by Fenerbahce. Bringing it over the halfway line is Lucas. He's calling the half-court set. Pulling up for the long-range 2 and burying it. That is a big bucket from Costas Lucas. He moves to 13 points in the game. 4 of 5 from 2-point territory. And he makes this a 1-point game with less than 2.5 minutes to play. So both teams in the penalty. So any subsequent foul now will result in a trip to the free throw line. Melih Mehmetoglu called for the foul. That's his 3rd. Marcus Eriksson to the stripe. He's made 23 consecutive free throws coming into this game. 95% foul shooter. So Marcus Eriksson extends his streak of made free throws and moves to 10 points in the game. It remains a 1-possession game. Alba Berlin leading by 3. Just over 2 minutes to... He brings his team back to within 1. 14 points in the game for Nando De Colo. Less than 2 minutes to play now. Siva beneath the free throw line, fouled in the act of shooting and will go to the line. Well, we said it was a marquee matchup between he and Costas Lucas. Costas Lucas with 13 points and 9 assists, some big buckets, but Peyton Siva has done a terrific job getting into the lane and controlling the tempo for Alba Berlin. He's used his speed to incredible effect as Peyton Siva goes to the free throw line looking to add to his 8-point total. Alba Berlin, incidentally, the 8th most accurate free throw shooting team in the EuroLeague. They shoot at 79% from the line. So Geoffrey Laverne taking a seat on the bench. Derek Williams checking back into the game. So Peyton Siva, 2 out of 2 from the free throw line. He's playing on the court with 4 fouls. He's got 10 points in the game. And those made foul shots put his team up by 3. Now, if that's on Peyton Siva, that is going to be his 5th and disqualifying foul. He elected to gamble, fighting his way through the screen, and as he and Costas Lucas came together locking arms, the foul call has gone against Peyton Siva. That is his 5th and disqualifying foul. He'll take no further part in the game, but what an impact he has had on the game. Doing a fantastic job controlling the tempo, using his speed wonderfully. 10 points, 6 assists, including 6 of 8 from the free throw line, 2 of 4 from 2-point territory for Peyton Siva. So Costas Lucas, who is 5 for 5 from the free throw line tonight. One gets the feeling that this final minute 36 could take a while to conclude, with both teams being in the penalty. Fouls could be used strategically to test the composure of the player who is sent to the free throw line. But Costas Lucas, no problems in the composure or accuracy department, making both free throws to move to 15 points in the game, 7 of 7 from the stripe. This is a 1-point game. Under a minute and a half to play. Giffey puts the ball inside to Luke Sigma. He's double teamed immediately. Rokas geared right as for 3. Back iron on the shot. Ball last touched by Luke Sigma, and it will be Fenerbahce Beko Istanbul ball. Good defense by Fenerbahce. The fans up on their feet here now, trying to encourage their team to find the baskets that would edge them ahead on the scoreboard. Little more than a minute to play here in Istanbul. We're at the Ulka Sports and Event Hall, where Fenerbahce Beko Istanbul. Sequence from Derek Williams, who blocked the shot of the most accurate 3-point marksman in the league, and then raced down court to finish with a tomahawk jam. And that is a big period of play for the home team, Fenerbahce Beko Istanbul. Niels Giffey is 2 of 4 from 3-point territory tonight. He's shooting 72% from 3-point land this season. But his shot was rubbed out by Derek Williams, who then gathered up the loose ball, showed his breakaway speed, and finished with authority at the rim to put his team up by 3. Timeout on the floor. Fenerbahce Beko Istanbul 86, Alba Berlin 83. Fenerbahce Beko Istanbul putting 6 points on the board without reply. To go from 83 down to lead by 3 at 86-83. Sideline possession for Alba Berlin. 30 seconds to play. It's a 1-possession game. Face guarding the inbounder is Nando De Colo. Martin Hermansen has it. He's left to be defended by Luigi De Tome, and that tippy-tap foul on the perimeter is going to send Martin Hermansen to the free throw line. He's made his sole free throw attempt tonight. Hermansen, an 85% foul shooter for his career. And again, this is an opportunity to bring his team back to within 1. Big free throws these for Alba Berlin. Hermansen poorly drained the first. Well, the fans fans well within their rights to make as much noise as possible and make life difficult for the shooter, but it makes no difference. 2 out of 2 from Martin Hermansen, who moves to 12 points in the game. He's playing with 4 fouls, remember. Peyton Siva has already fouled out, and we have a 1-point game here. With less than 30 seconds to play, there's a difference of just over 2 seconds between the shot clock and the game clock. And that foul by Niels Gaffay will send Kostas Lukas to the free throw line. And we mentioned with just over a minute and a half to go that those final seconds could take a very long time to transpire, because the fouls could well be used strategically to send the opposition to the free throw line. Both teams doing a solid job from the stripe tonight. Fenerbahce Beko Istanbul 18 of 21 as a team. Kostas Lukas, a perfect 7 out of 7 from the free throw line tonight. So Kostas Lukas makes the first. Kostas Lukas gets the shooter's roll. He remains perfect from the free throw line. 9 out of 9 from the stripe in his 19-point total. And his team lead by 3. Timeout on the floor deep into the 4th quarter. Less than 30 seconds to play here. And this one in the balance as we pause for the 7 days magic moment. Huge play at both ends of the floor. Blocking the league's #1 3-point shooter in terms of accuracy, then chasing down the loose ball and finishing with a flourish on the fast break throwdown. Derek Williams with the 7 days magic moment, coming at a crucial juncture of this game. Five double-digit scorers for Fenerbahce Beko Istanbul tonight who have really spread the load. And that is the same number as Alba Berlin. It has been that type of game. So many players stepping up, coming up big for their team. We wondered what type of contest it was going to be when we highlighted the 2 legendary coaches who are calling the shots over on the sidelines. And perhaps unsurprisingly, this one has come right down to the wire. The coaches have drawn up tactics and strategies that the teams have been able to implement. And in addition to the X's and O's, both teams have demonstrated plenty of fight as well, because there were occasions for both teams when the game appeared to be out of reach. But each time, on each occasion, each team has dug in and fought back. Oh, another steal from Derek Williams, almost. Luke Sigma recovers, gets the ball over the half. Taken away by Kostas Lukas. Ball is loose, Nando De Colo with it, rips it away. Oh my goodness! Now this is a huge call. Traveling has been called against Nando De Colo as he went to free himself from the double team. He gets up off the ground, he's surrounded by blue jersey defenders, and Martin Hermansen immediately calling the traveling violation, but he went to rip it away. And one can only assume that he lifted up his pivot foot. But Zelko Obradovic, well, you can see what he thinks of the call. That is a huge call in the context of this game. Alba Berlin, with less than 10 seconds on the clock, have the ball to inbound. So a 3-pointer would send this game into overtime in all likelihood, depending on when they pulled the trigger. Both teams are in the penalty. Now, with Fenerbahce leading by 3, what do? Do they foul the receiver immediately and send him to the free throw line for 2 shots so that the 3-point deficit can't be wiped out on this trip down the floor? Or do they play straight up? All of these things will be going through the coaches' minds now. They'll be going through the players' minds also. Rokas geared rightist looking for a receiver. Almost taken away by Derek Williams. Niels Gaffay surrounded. He is fouled on the ground, but both teams in the penalty. So that will send Niels Gaffay to the free throw line for 2 foul shots. Alba Berlin facing a 3-point deficit. So Niels Gaffay to the free throw line for the first time tonight. 17 out of 20 from the stripe on the season so far. And these are big. Makes the first. So far in the fourth quarter, that free throw edges Alba Berlin ahead by 1, 23-24 in favor of the visiting team. Now, in the event that he misses this free throw. What a turnaround! A 3-point trip down the floor for Alba Berlin. They got not one offensive rebound, they got 2. Luke Sigma getting the second one and sticking it home to make it a 3-point trip down the floor. 2 extra bites at the cherry. He's going to enrage Coach Obradovic. This is staggering. At this level of play, that the home team saw 2 offensive rebounds conceded, and you have to credit Alba Berlin. They have tied this up at 88 points apiece with less than 10 seconds on the clock.
One more time, wait for Pete. Change the speed over here, hey? Change the speed, ask for the ball. Down Pete, take the ball, open, attack. Okay.
So, we have seen some dramatic game-winning heroics in recent weeks in the Turkish Airlines EuroLeague. Mike James nailing a 3-pointer to give CSKA Moscow a win over Žalgiris Kaunas yesterday. Lorenzo Brown iced a 3-pointer against Valencia Basket. 4.5 seconds remain on the clock. The game is tied. Both teams are in the penalty. Fenerbahce will want to get themselves a good look at the bucket. Oh, what is this? Oh, now there's a blood injury. So it's all happening here. Nondo De Colo has got to go and get that addressed. He can't be on the court while he's got blood leaking from that injury. Now, is he going to be allowed to come back on? Timeout's being called by Željko Obradovic to ensure that Nondo De Colo can be bandaged up and be on the floor during this crucial period of the fourth and final quarter. That is how tight it has been in the second half. The first 2 quarters were characterized by huge momentum swings favoring both teams. 30 points on the board in quarter number 1 for Fenerbahce. 24-11 in the second quarter in favor of Alba Berlin.
Hey, Costa, if you watch that Melly is alone, pass the ball and you shot the ball. Okay. Melly, fake, okay, fake, low rush, fake, big, watch over there, okay.
So Nondo De Colo will no doubt have had that blood injury seen to. Yeah, you can see that strapping on the left elbow. So it will be sideline possession for the home team. They have got so many dead-eye shooters out on the court. Melih Mahamatoglu, 58% from downtown, puts him 4th in the 3-point shooting standings. But remember, it's a tied game. They can get close to the bucket and a high percentage shot. That'll do perfectly for them as well. But first, they've got to get the ball in bounds. Nondo De Colo with the catch. He's trapped by the sideline and halfway line. Extra pass. Derek Williams for the win. Back iron on the shot. We are going to overtime. What a breathless four quarters we have witnessed here at the Alba Sports and Event Hall. 4 quarters not enough to separate these two teams, and we are going to require an extra period, because at the end of regulation it is all square. Fenerbahce Beko Istanbul 88, Alba Berlin 88. Well, it's been an absolutely incredible game. They're an example of the wonderful ball movement on the inside. Landry Noko selling the pump fake, and how about this for the kick to the corner and a wide open 3 for Martin Hermansen. Hermansen currently playing with 4 fouls, remember. Geoffrey Laverne with 15 points in the game, but he was sat over on the sideline with his jersey off. I don't know if he can no longer contribute to action on the floor, but this is where the game was tied up. The missed free throw, not 1, but 2 offensive rebounds. Rokas Giedraitis missed the first, and then Luke Sigma getting the second offensive rebound and getting the stick back to fall. Outstanding shooting from 2- and 3-point territory by Fenerbahce Beko Istanbul. Solid shooting from 3-point land by Alba Berlin. Very little in it on the boards. Fenerbahce Beko Istanbul committing 5 more turnovers than Alba Berlin, who lead the league in that stat, remember. Peyton Siva has fouled out. Martin Hermansen is playing with 4 fouls. So too Luigi Di Tome and Ahmet Deverioglu for the home team. Nervous moments for the spectators up in the fans here. Spectators up in the stands here. They now rousing themselves to come to the fore once again with more vocal support for the home team as they go in search of their 3rd straight win. So it will be a jump ball to begin the extra period. So the 5's in position. And the tip is controlled by the home team. A game as tight as this, 1 extra possession could prove to be absolutely critical. Di Tome gives it to De Colo, who fires the 3, back iron on the shot. And we've got a whistle on the play. Now, if that's on Gigi Di Tome, that is his 5th and disqualifying foul, as he was fighting for the offensive board. Over the back of Rokas Giedraitis, so Gigi Di Tome fouls out of the game. 8 points in the game, 2 of 4 from downtown, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, along with 7 rebounds and 2 steals as well. So he'll take no further part. Joining Peyton Siva on 5 fouls. First blood in the extra period goes to Alba Berlin, Rokas Giedraitis. A perfect 2 out of 2 on his first trip to the free throw line tonight. Alba Berlin lead by 2. Slukas. Defended by Hermansen, who's playing with 4 fouls. De Colo sees a seam, attacks it aggressively, deflected out of bounds by Luke Sigma. So Mahamatoglu with the catch. Slukas working on Landry Noko with the dribble. Inside to Ahmet Deverioglu, almost saved by Landry Noko. High risk entry pass, trying to find the forward beneath the bucket. It was deflected out of bounds, and so it will be Fenerbahce possession with 5 seconds remaining on the shot clock. So we've got a whistle on the play, and if that's on Martin Hermansen, that'll be his 5th undisqualifying foul. So he's gambling, chasing after Kostas Lukas, and in going for that reach, that is foul number 5. So he joins Peyton Seaver on the bench. The 2 lead point guards for Alba Berlin. Now taking a seat on the bench, having accumulated their 5th undisqualifying fouls. Now remember, the penalty remains. So Kostas Lukas to the free throw line. His metronomic consistency continues. 10 out of 10 from the free throw line now. And this is just absolutely outstanding shooting by Kostas Lukas to tie the game up at 90 points apiece. Makai Mason has checked into the game to take over point guard responsibilities with Peyton Seaver. And Martin Hermansen fouled out. Landry Noko double teamed aggressively by Nando De Colo. And that's going to be a foul which will send Noko to the free throw line. So Nando De Colo called for his 3rd. Landry Noko 3 out of 5 from the stripe so far tonight. So Landry Noko makes both, and again, this free throw shooting is to be admired. Both teams coming up big in crunch time. Fenerbahce's only points so far have come from the stripe. So too, Alba Berlin's Nando De Colo draws the foul on Landry Noko, and that will send him to the free throw line. And without wishing to preempt anything, one suspects that the trend of all the points being made from the free throw line so far in overtime will continue. Nando De Colo 4 out of 4 from the stripe so far tonight. Remember, the all-time leader in terms of foul shot accuracy. 94% from the line for his career. So Nando De Colo, 6 out of 6 from the free throw line. We are all square at 92. Just over a minute gone in this 5-minute overtime period. Makai Mason being defended aggressively by Slukas. He drives, he kicks to the corner. Luke Sigma, extra pass to Rokas Giedraitis, fakes the 3, gets inside beneath the free throw line. Rebound Ahmet Deverioglu, and then rips it away with terrific strength from the reaching hands of Rokas Giedraitis. So Kostas Lukas establishing the half-court set from his own half. Nando De Colo sees the seam, drives the lane, and beats the outstretched arm of the shot-blocking Landry Noko. A terrific finish by Nando De Colo takes him to 18 points in the game. The first field goal of the overtime period gives Fenerbahce a 2-point lead. Their first lead of the extra period. Makai Mason, with his first points of the game, ties things up at 96. Getting his first minutes after Martin Hermansen fouled out. Peyton Seaver was already on the bench. With 5 fouls, Derek Williams with the baseline jam puts his team ahead by 2, 96-94. Derek Williams with 14 points in the game. Didn't even bother to snap the rim on that occasion, just saving his energy. Makai Mason gets the shooter's roll after Fenerbahce elected to leave him around the elbow area. Back-to-back buckets for Makai Mason ties the game at 96. Mahamatoglu for 3. And the captain, Meli Mahamatoglu, continues his outstanding shooting from three-point territory. 17 points in the game on 5 of 9 from three-point land. but Mackay Mason looks to answer off the mark. So Fenerbahce looking to break the 100-point barrier on this trip down the floor. Inside to Ahmet Deverioglu, draws the foul. After Luke Sikma bought the pump fake, hook, line and sinker. Nice footwork by Ahmet Deverioglu, still had the presence of mind to get the shot away, but couldn't convert the bucket. Wonderful feed. And then Melih Mahamatoglu burying his 5th three-pointer of the night to give his team a 3-point lead. So it will be Ahmet Deverioglu to the free throw line. We've got an official review. Is this for the type of foul? I wonder what's under scrutiny here, because Luke Sikma extended his elbow as he was coming back down to earth, but I don't think there was any malicious intent, as perhaps to ensure that he didn't injure either him. Oh, it's an unsportsmanlike foul against Luke Sikma, while that extended arm has proved to be significant. Not being interpreted that he was looking to break his fall. Instead, it's something other than a legitimate play on the ball. So Luke Sikma called for the unsportsmanlike foul. Ahmet Deverioglu, who's was 1 of 3 from the stripe in this game, makes the first. Fenerbahce up by 4 in overtime. They arrive at 100 points, but remember, they will have the ensuing possession. Ahmet Deverioglu comes up huge, making both free throws, and he is a 50% foul shooter for his career. His team lead by 5, and that unsportsmanlike foul assessed against Luke Sikma sees Fenerbahce with the ensuing possession. So a potential 5-point trip down the floor. De Colo pulls up for 3, front rim on the shot. And so minimal damage done in terms of the free throws were made, but not another field goal. Alba Berlin trailing by 5. Beautiful offload by Mackay Mason. Niels Gafai for 3. Oh, absolutely nerveless shooting from Niels Gafai. That gives you an idea as to why he's shooting 72% from three-point territory this season. 12 points in the game, 3 of 5 from downtown. He brings his team back to within 2. It's a one-possession game here. Inside to Ahmet Deverioglu off the feed from Derek Williams. And Alba Berlin having to gamble, they're having to run and trap and chase, but that leaves spaces, and providing Fenerbahce can keep their composure and find the open man, that should result in good looks at the basket. Never more so than there. The ball is loose, it's a rugby scrum, and Fenerbahce come away with it. A terrific play, epitomizing the hustle that has been demonstrated by the home team throughout the course of this hard-fought encounter. 4 points is the advantage. We've got a 9-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. Risky feed inside to Ahmet Deverioglu, but he gathered the ball strong from around his ankles and finished with the one-handed jam. And Ahmet Deverioglu is the man of the moment in this extra period. He iced his 2 free throws. He was found for a wide open dunk by Derek Williams. And then he, after a bobbled low post reception, he managed to swoop up the basketball and finish with a one-handed flush. 6 points in back-to-back-to-back fashion for Ahmet Deverioglu have put Fenerbahce Beko Istanbul in a commanding position in this game. They lead by 6 in the dying stages of the overtime period. Timeout on the floor, and time is running out for Alba Berlin.
Let's go.
17-11 is the score so far in the extra period. And the Fenerbahçe Beko Istanbul fans just beginning to clap their hands, jump up and down and wave those flags in anticipation of a celebration of victory. Because they are close to the winning line here, but they are facing an incredibly dogged and determined Alba Berlin team. It's a two-possession game, 22 seconds remain in the game. Alba Berlin just under 50% from downtown tonight at 13 for 28 from long range. But there's the 9-3 scoring run that Alba Berlin have been subjected to put themselves in this position. Niels Gaffay attacks, kick to the corner, Rokas Giedraitis for three, and he nails it! Would you expect anything less? He makes this a one-possession game with 15 seconds remaining in this overtime period. Well, Fenerbahçe Beko Istanbul are going to have to handle the basketball sure-handedly here. And remember, Alba Berlin may well choose to foul. Now there is a foul, but it's sending Kostas Lukas to the free throw line, who is 11 out of 11 from the stripe so far tonight. Absolutely sensational shooting by both teams. 14 out of 29 from three-point territory. As we see the reaction of Željko Obradović to that three-point bucket, which made this a one-possession game once again. To the free throw line then, Kostas Lukas. 12 out of 12 from the stripe. 22 points in the game, along with 10 assists for an outstanding double-double. Will it be a match-winning one? So at this juncture, Alba Berlin need 2 scores without reply. They're down by 4. Kostas Lukas, 13 out of 13. Rokas Giedraitis pushing hard. He's bounced the ball off his own foot. And that will give possession to Fenerbahçe Beko Istanbul. You have to credit their transition defense for that turnover. The lead is now 5. It's a 2-score game. Will Alba Berlin look to foul the receiver immediately? No, it appears as though they aren't. So they're playing straight up. This one is over. And Fenerbahçe Beko Istanbul take this overtime victory, prevailing by a 5-point margin over an incredibly determined Alba Berlin.